I don't know whether I'm supposed to be down here or not. Hello and welcome back to my channel. And you join me in Bristol, the 10th largest city in England. I'm the home to the mysterious artist known as Banksy. Today I'm going to take a walk from where I am now by Castle Park and head up towards the Cabot Tower in Brandon Park. So this is a sort of park to park walk. Hopefully climb the tower as well. We're just walking on this little walkway, a little bridge here, up into Castle Park, form of the old medieval castle used to be. And I'm met with a sight of litter. Oh my goodness me, bins overflowing. Look at that, that is... What an eyesore, my gosh. It's quite pleasant here, it's a nice sunny day. And you can see where they've rebuilt some of the walls as well. Modern interpretation to try and give it a castle sort of feel. I can see it behind me. Rather nice here, apart from the litter. Dear oh dear. What used to be here was an old Motte and Bailey castle, built just after the Norman conquests. But the castle fell into disrepair around 1480. It was recorded, I think, as being ruinous. And it was pulled down in 1656 on the orders of Oliver Cromwell, I should say, yeah, in the orders of Oliver Cromwell. All that was remaining then was just one of the towers, and that was pulled down in 1927. And the Luftwaffe did the rest back during the Second World War. I think it was in 1940. The Luftwaffe came over and bombed what is now Castle Park, and there's more litter behind me. But so much litter on the ground. I've walked through parks all over England. Most of them are absolutely immaculate. But first impressions, with all the litter, it's not good. This is not a political channel, this is a history and travel channel. So I'm not going to moan too much about litter. But really the council should at least empty some of the bins. The people of Bristol should pick up after themselves. But let's find some ruins of the old castle. They made an effort with some of the buildings here. There's a modern building on the end with sort of a castellated rampart at the top, castellated top. Turn around, you can sort of see that. Oh my goodness. Bit of ancient wall here. I know Bristol has a rough sleeper problem, but oh wow, what a mess. Oh gosh, won't take a closer look there, but that's not good. That's not good at all. Rough sleeping in this country is a huge problem. And with the state of the economy and Brexit and the remains of the pandemic, and I think it's going to get a lot worse. Oh, I so hope not. But I feel so sorry for these people. I really do. I do what I can through charities to help, but I can't. I'm only one person. I can't do everything. There's more rubbish down the bottom of these steps as well. This is disgraceful. Sorry, Bristol. That is absolutely disgraceful. I passed 3 public bins since I walked into the park, and all three are overflowing. Oh boy, that's bad, that's bad. And there's another section of wall here. Nice little, very interesting, looking at sections of wall. This one's got an interesting little decorative tiling above the, looks like an old entrance gate or something. Little postern or something there. That's quite interesting. Some parts of the castle do actually survive. And down here, well, they got section of wall here, so, and a gate. Oh, this goes down into the this is an old sally port, of course, because we're on a river here. This is an old sally port, so soldiers would have gone down into the sally port to in case the castle was sieged. There's another entrance or exit into the castle. Oh wow, don't see sally ports very often. But that's rather interesting, rather interesting. You find so much, you just walk around looking at bits of wall and yeah, very pleasant here. In this part, there's no litter here. But now let's head up to the ruins of the church and see what we can discover up there. And it's such a lovely day here in Bristol as well. It's a scorcher yesterday while I was in Weston-super-Mare. The forecast for today is temperatures similar to that of yesterday. Just walking up these little steps. There's a delightful little water feature up here. It's called Beside the Still Waters. It was installed in 1993 and designed by the artist Peter Randall Page. There's a nice tree-lined avenue just walking down to what was the ruins of St Peter's Church. Been a church here since 1106. But it got bombed during the war. 25th of November 1940. And they've never rebuilt it. It's actually been left as a memorial to the 207 civilians who died during that Blitz. And a delightful little garden here as well. Now I do like little gardens by the sides of ruins, be it churches or castles or whatever, or priories. And this is lovely. You can just imagine if this was a working parish church, a nice little garden as a feature of the parish. But how delightful, absolutely delightful. Fortunately, you can't go into the church. They've got workmen in. I was hoping to have gone in and had a little look at the interior architecture, but I guess that's not going to be possible. We've got some steps here. Let's walk down these steps. These lead down to the river. It really is very pleasant here. There's lots of people around, which is nice, all enjoying the park. Sitting away from the rubbish, of course. And there's a cycleway through here as well. Cycling's big in Bristol. That I did know before I came here. And I've got the river Avon on my left-hand side. Really rather nice. But now let's head up into the town centre through what was the old medieval part of the town. Take a look and see what's up there. I know there's an old entrance gate up there next to an old church, so we'll go and take a look at that and then head up towards the Cabot Tower, And as I said earlier, hopefully that will be open and we can climb to the top. This would be fun. I haven't climbed a tower since I was at Walton-on-the-Naze many months ago, about 3 months ago, beginning of the summer. Had a really enjoyable time walking there from the station along the beach and then climbing the tower. But there we go. So let's try and find where I need to be. And there's another section of castle up here. Just up these steps. Let's go and take a look. I'm not sure what this is. It might be a part of castle. Perhaps another building built on the old castle wall. But it could be, just looking at it, it could be monastic in some way or connected with the church. Let's just have a look outside. Tiny little doorway just behind me, and also some little put log holes on the side, bottom of one of the walls. There's no information plaques here to tell me what this is. I do like discovering old ruins and exploring them. You learn so much from a building and a town and looking at old ruins, and it's so nice to see that they've been preserved. And they weren't destroyed back in 1927, along with the remains of the castle. So after being sidetracked, let's head up into the town centre, or city centre. Sorry, Bristol. Head up into the city centre and see what we can discover as we try and find that tower in Brandon Park. I've got a cup of tea. I've walked so far this morning I needed to sit down and have a cup of tea. And this one's been sponsored, which makes it taste even nicer. So thank you to Jane Bass, who went on to the Buy Me a Coffee link, which you'll find in the description below, and bought me a coffee. Well, I've traded it in for a cup of tea, so I hope you don't mind. It's very sweet of you, thank you. Oh, I do love a cup of tea. Oh dear, I went down the wrong way. But it's been fascinating walking around Bristol so far and walking around the castle. And then I popped into an old church, Church of All Saints with St Ewen and St George. Beautiful little church inside there. And now I've stopped at Bristol's oldest cafe house. Oldest cafe. It's called Café Revival. And it's been a coffee house on this site since 1718. So that's quite a long way. Quite a long way back, but still making a good cuppa. Must come here again. Oh, the staff in there are very friendly. But it's just on, this is on Corn Street. And just to my left is the old Corn Exchange. Used to be on a site of a pub called The Bush, and it was written about in Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. One of his characters, a Mr. Winkle, was reported to have stayed there in his book. I haven't read Charles Dickens' books for a long while, so I think I'll start with the Pickwick Papers. I saw the musical a few years ago. There's some great music in that, but I must read the book again, I think. So I'm just going to finish my cup of tea, and then I'm going to walk past All Saints Church, which is just next door to this cafe, and then down Broad Street to one of the old posterns of Bristol, and the old St John's Gate, and then up to the tower. But All Saints Church is rather interesting as well. The Black Death first came to Bristol in 1348, and over the next sort of 300 years, plague revisited the city so many times, and it's where all the bodies were piled up outside. They used to bring out their dead and ready for collection, and they'd be taken away, buried in plague pits somewhere outside the city walls. Must have been rather grim to see. And the cafe's supposed to be haunted by a monk as well. So given all that happened here over the centuries, perhaps a monk died of plague and now haunts the cafe. Or maybe he just likes a nice cup of tea, as I do. So I'm going to finish my tea and then head down Broad Street. So thank you, Jane. Oh, that's lovely. Can't beat a cup of tea. So nice sitting at a cafe where you know that people have been drinking teas and coffees for hundreds of years. All the good and the great and the ordinary people of Bristol drinking tea and coffee in there since 1748. I think I said 1718, but it's 1748. And to wonder who they are and what they were doing and how much a cup of tea was back in 1748 as compared to people's earnings. It's really interesting to find that out. I'm walking into the church of Christchurch with St Ewen and St George. What a beautiful church that is inside. And looking at the organ and the gallery at the back. But this is Broad Street. And ooh, little passageway. I wonder where this goes. I think this goes down into a private area. It says Albany Chambers on the side. I don't know whether I'm supposed to be down here or not. It's quite nice down here. The old back streets of Bristol. How exciting. Reminds me of the Gants that I walked through while I was in Braintree a few weeks ago. The old thoroughfares of towns and cities. Wonderful, it really is. Quite interesting looking at the architecture as well. Back out here again. Not sure where I am. Let's walk back this way. Then I know where I'm going. Yeah, these are legal chambers here. There's a board on one of the buildings by the door, and it's got the Honourable, the person's name, and QC after their name. And there's loads of QCs in there. So I think I better leave. I don't suppose I'm supposed to be down here. But it probably is a public right of way. But walking through here, you get a sense of just what Bristol might have been like all those years ago. 4 modern buildings, new buildings erected in the 17th and 18th century on the footprint of old medieval streets. That created these back alleys. But of course they're back alleys to today. But back in medieval times, in the 12th, 13th century, 14th century, those were the main streets. They were the main streets, and there's loads of buildings here. Absolutely wonderful. But down the end here is what I want to see. This is one of the old entrance gates into Bristol. There were quite a number. This is the St John's Gate. There's also the St Nicholas Gate, St Lawrence Gate, St Giles Gate, and the Allwards Gate, just to name a few. But it's quite interesting. They've got a couple of archways. So let's walk through the archways and see what we can find around here. Really is rather interesting walking through Bristol. Underneath the clock is a coat of arms of King Charles II, and to either side of the central arch at the top are two statues of the founders of Bristol, Brennus and Belinus. The central arch is mid-14th century, but the ones on the other side that I'm now walking through were put in 1820. You can see how thick the wall was, about 15 feet thick. This is what Nelson Street, Nelson Street, so I walk back to the other side. Walk through this one. Really rather interesting. 1820 passageway. Wow. It's quite interesting, that. Now walk through the old medieval arch. Think of the people who have walked through here throughout history. Really is quite amazing. I think I passed another one of these old medieval passageways. I'm going to walk back through here and round to the right and explore this passageway here. Very narrow road. I guess this was the width of the road back in medieval times. But it's nice they've kept the old cobbles as well. You don't see cobbles too often in towns and cities these days. They've usually been paved over with regeneration, but it's nice to see them. This road continues across the passageway continues. Oh wow! The medieval passageway. Exciting. Another little back street. Oh my god, look at the graffiti on here. That's appalling. This could be a lovely little thoroughfare. Perhaps trendy boutique shops, cafes, wine bars. But it's full of graffiti. Oh my goodness me. What with all the rubbish in the park and graffiti everywhere, Bristol seems to have a problem. So I know we got a graffiti artist, Banksy, in the town, but at least his is quite different to this, I don't know what you call it, urban graffiti. Let's go down here. Council got to work when they're doing some cleaning up, and that's very nice to see. So well done to him. Let's go back down onto the main square down here. That was fun. That was fun walking through those back streets. You never know what you're going to find. And I found an old medieval passageway and some unsightly graffiti. But have fun. Now we've come up to the main square and the town cenotaph. Bristol Cenotaph was erected in 1932. And it was designed by a local architect, a lady called Evelyn Drew Blacker. She died in 1956, aged 72. But it's nice to see that a memorial to Bristol's war dead was designed by a lady from Bristol. Normally it's an architectural firm or somebody else that does it. It's nice that she was asked, being a Bristol lady. but I've walked upon the plinth where the statue of Edward Colston used to stand. Now this statue made the headlines pretty much around the world, I think, back in June of 2020, when the statue was ripped from its pedestal and unceremoniously thrown into the docks. This was part of the Black Lives Matter campaign. But all lives matter, regardless of someone's race, creed, colour, beliefs. All lives around the world matter. So, but it was pulled down because they objected to Edward Colston, the man himself, who was involved in the slave trade. But like so many towns and cities, port towns and cities throughout Britain and in Europe, there are numerous links to the slave trade, and you cannot repair or undo the past by ripping down a statue. You might as well rip up the whole of Bristol and numerous other towns and cities in England if you're against the slave trade. Slave trade was part of our history and our heritage, and we can't undo our history and our heritage. All we can do is learn from the past. And considering that slavery is still ripe around the world today, we should be focusing on that rather than trying to change the past, which of course we can't because it's in the past. It's a shame, but they have preserved the statue. I believe it's in one of the town's museums, so these people have made history by trying to change history, and you can't change history. But there we go. That's my little monologue over with. But now let's head up towards Cabot Tower, and hopefully on the way we'll find some more medieval back streets. That would be fun. This street is called Colston Avenue. It leads down from the War Memorial to another of Bristol's old back streets. It's interesting that people could tear down the statue of Edward Colston, but they've kept the street name the same, and quite a few other buildings in Bristol that bear the Colston name. But this little thoroughfare here under Centre Gate leads down to a street called Christmas Street, and this was originally called Queen Street, and it was renamed, well, it's called Queen Street after Queen Elizabeth I, who visited here back in 1574. And on the front here is the most beautiful Tudor building, absolutely fantastic. And on the side is a little eye in what looks like a, I don't know what you call it, a window or a little hole in the wall, bricked up hole in the wall. But these are called the Christmas Steps. They're originally called Nyfesmouth Street, but Nyfesmouth Street changed into Christmas Steps. There was a Christmas street nearby, and these steps were installed in 1669, and they were paid for by a wealthy wine merchant called Jonathan Blackwell. And you got the old cobbles on the floor here, and it's really rather pleasant. It's very Dickensian walking through here with the traditional bay fronted shops, you can see behind me, and another set of steps at the top. It really is rather pleasant. Bristol's throwing up quite a few surprises in the back streets department. But just the top is some little seating halfway up these steps. few on each side, but that's really is very pleasant. When we get to the top, oh wow, oh, little puffed out after that. Let's cross the road and head up into the park and discover this tower. Well, I've made it to Brandon Park, and the tower is just to my right. Oh, it was a long walk up from those steps to get here. I think it's hotter than it was yesterday for my trip to Weston-super-Mare. Wow. But these steps, these stone steps, lead up to the tower. So I'm just going to follow these up to these little gardens and up through a waterfall. It's really rather pleasant here. This is a lovely park. And unlike Castle Park, there's no litter here. Oh gosh. Wow. This is lovely. The tower was built in 1897. It's built to commemorate the voyage of a man called John Cabot. And he sailed from Bristol to Newfoundland back in 1497. And he sailed on a ship called the Matthew. Gosh, nearly at the top. Now this tower was designed by a local architect, a man called William Van Gogh, or Van Gogh I should say, William Van Gogh. It's nice to see another monument by a Bristol architect. There we go, right to the top, here by the tower, which isn't open today, which is a shame. But you do get some fantastic views overlooking the city of Bristol. Wow, it's just it's a great shame that the tower is closed, because it's 105 feet tall, 32 meters, and there are 109 steps. I'm not sure if I have the energy to climb 109 steps. Oh wow. But there we go. I would have done if it had been open, because I'm sure you would have liked to see the inside of the tower. No doubt watch me suffer trying to climb the 109 steps. And here we are at the base of the Cabot Tower, here on Brandon Hill in Brandon Park, overlooking the city of Bristol. I've had a really fun walk getting here, and I hope you'd have an enjoyable time watching this video. If you have, don't forget to leave a comment, and please subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's only through subscribing that the channel will actually grow. Without subscribers, the channel won't. So please, if you're watching this video and you've enjoyed it, then please hit that subscribe button. It costs nothing, and you do help my channel to grow. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon for another history video, another walk somewhere else on another day. It's a bit windy up here. Oh dear. Oh well, never mind. Walk back into town. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.